Hey guys, welcome back to DCS World. I'm Spudknocker. Today I'm making a video that I have wanted to make for a while now, and now that hotfix 3 for DCS World 2.5 is out and ready to go, I can now make this video. And it is all about employing the AV-8B night attack in its natural environment, which is at night, obviously. So we have a few things to talk about. The first is make sure your HOTAS is fully set up with how you like everything. That's really important because everything at night is much easier when you have your HOTAS set up with as many buttons as possible, because it's a game. We do not have the luxury of having the ability to feel around the cockpit for different switches and controls or use our muscle memory for such things, which is kind of a bummer. One of the downsides to simulators, but without a home cockpit, but most of us have to deal with it, and it's totally fine. So we've got a simple mission here with some fires started for a little ambiance at night. We've got a T-72, a T-55, and 2 BMPs out there. I've got 2 GBU-12s and 2 AGM-65Ds to play with here. So I've got my TGP slewed onto the T-72 to start off here. It's very important to stay in front of the jet when you're at night here trying to attack things at night, because you can get behind the jet very easily, and I can't tell you how many times I've crashed at night trying to work all these systems. And now that the autopilot is implemented in the Harrier, this makes the entire endeavor a lot easier, as well as making sure the jet is properly trimmed out to fly very nicely for you. Turn on the master arm here. You always want to be constantly trying to sweeten your picture on the TGP to make your laser as accurate as possible. Because we're going after a T-72 here, that's very important, because a near miss, even with a GBU-12, could have consequences. We may not get a hard kill on the target. Of course, the crew in the tank in a near miss is not going to be very happy. The tank itself will still be alive. So we're going to roll in. One thing to note is always release GBU-12s, 16s, or any other laser-guided bomb when you are above or at 10 angels or 10,000 feet. This is to give the weapon time to acquire the laser signal. And you always want to be looking at your TGP, making sure you've got a good bead on it. We'll go ahead and fire the laser here. I like to sometimes go into a very shallow dive. Make sure you're staying above 10,000 feet though. Always deliver LGBs in automatic mode. That will really help you. Now that we're over the target, we will hold the pickle button. One away. You can look at the TGP still. Our image is pretty sweet there. Once the camera flips like that, we know that our bomb is close. Boom. Looks just like combat footage, doesn't it? Oh, and he went away. Can't tell if we killed him, if he's on fire or not, but we'll go ahead and swoop around and go after the other tank, which is the T-55 with our next bomb. So we're going to fly out a little bit of a distance. Go ahead and put this guy into standby mode so it's not so bright. Two other fires there. One thing to note is it's very difficult to tell if a tank, armored vehicle, or truck is alive or dead. And this is not a thing that is limited to DCS world. This is a true-to-life kind of issue when it comes to employing guided munitions at night, and was something that was experienced a lot in Desert Storm by various coalition pilots on tank plinking missions and kill boxes, because a lot of times guys would expend LGBs on tanks that had been killed previously by other flights. Now, that confusion certainly wasn't enough to save any of Saddam's tanks, but it definitely added a layer of fog of war to what's going on, and kind of helps bring home that the video game war, so to speak, was not perfect. I think because we got such a near miss on that T-72, I think he'll probably be dead. But you never know. We'll have to look at the after-action report. And that's what makes aerial warfare fun in a game, is there's no certain answers for a lot of things. So there's the tank. I'm not sure if he's dead or alive. I go after this guy here. I go ahead and fire the laser because we're coming up on it pretty quick here. There's a lot of things to remember. As you can see there, I accidentally had the laser on still. You definitely don't want to do that because that can damage the laser emitter unit in the TGP, and TGPs are expensive. Got a pretty good lineup here. So it looks like we're going after a BMP, not the T-55, which is fine. Hold that pickle button. Second bomb is away. Keep sweetening that picture. Make sure we get a good kill. Yeah, that's definitely a BMP. And that's okay. We'll just switch up our rationale here for weapons employment. Or wait. Yeah, that's a BMP. Here comes a bomb. And splash. That is definitely a kill. I never get over how great that graphics looks. Not great, but creepy. Eerily similar to real-life combat footage you may see. So we can definitely turn off that laser now. And we probably put this guy into standby since we don't have any more LGBs left. So now that our LGBs are expended, we're going to have to switch over to our AGM-65Ds. And that is very difficult to do with your NVG on. You can look at the TGP by looking under or around your NVG circle here, but it's very difficult to employ mavericks by doing that because you have to look at your MFD to get a good picture with your maverick. got a little tongue-tied there. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip off our NVGs and switch over to, if we can, switch over to our nav FLIR on our HUD. So we still got the target point mapped out in our INS from our T-pod, so we know how to get back to our target area very easily. Bring up our IR mavs. Now there's a lot of switchology that comes with employing Mavericks in the Harrier, and I definitely recommend getting used to all these procedures during the daylight to start off. Now you want to be careful of getting vertigo. That is for sure. Here we go. Back to this fire, and back to our target guidance point. So our jet has automatically switched over to our DMT. I'm going to uncage our seeker head. Go ahead and throw that into IR Mav. One missile away. One thing that's kind of annoying is the FOV resets on your missile there. Pretty sure that's a vehicle, so we'll go ahead and rifle that too. We will fly around here. Always be mindful of your altitude. Cannot stress that enough. So now that our missiles are away, we can certainly go ahead and switch back to NVGs. It's much, much easier to fly, in my opinion, with NVGs on than with solely the nav FLIR. So, looks like we got another splash there. I have a feeling that the IR Mav tracked in on the base of the fire there for my lock, so that was not the best example in the world, but it works. Of course, you can do this a million times, perfectly practicing with yourself, but when you try to make a video, something has to go wrong, right? So that is my video on employing the Harrier at night. We'll go ahead and do a strafing run here. That sounds like it could be fun. Like I said, all this stuff, much, much better to practice it at night. Or sorry, practice during the daytime before you try this stuff at night. It's just much, much easier to do so. Ooh, that fire's bright. Kind of see the little dots of the fires from the splashed vehicles. I'll go ahead and fire on one of these guys. Whoa! Flying through our own ricochets. Now when you're in contested airspace at night like this and you go in for a strafing run, you drop some snake eyes, whatever it is, something that takes you right in close with the enemy like that, only want to pop flares if you know that you're going to face man pads or IR SAMs, because if you pop flares, they illuminate your bird nice and bright, and you don't want to give AA gunners a nice cue to fire on. And in jets with afterburners, like the Hornet coming out, or the Tomcat, or any other jet with an afterburner, you want to stay out of burner as much as possible for the same reason. You don't want that nice bright flame being a perfect cue for a AAA gunner. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it gave you a little bit of an idea of the workflow of how to employ weapons in a nighttime setting with the Harrier. Thanks a lot, guys, and fly safe.